Hello, everybody, and welcome to this edition of Discovery Day. Before we get started, I want to go ahead and say thank you to our sponsors, the Chickasaw Nation, for sponsoring Free Family Fun and for making these programs possible. But let's go ahead and jump right in. This is our museum, the Oklahoma Hall of Fame. We are located in downtown Oklahoma City in Midtown. We're very fortunate to be in such a beautiful building. And here at the Oklahoma Hall of Fame, we tell Oklahoma's story through its people. So we tell the inspiring stories of Oklahomans day after day to inspire future generations. So today we are telling the story of Gloria Twine Chisum. And so she's from Oklahoma from a long time ago. Her family's been here a very, very long time. Such a long time, in fact, that the town of Twine, Oklahoma is named after her grandfather. But she went and she got a couple degrees. And from 1960 to 1965, Chisholm researched psychology at the Naval Air Development Center. And then she went on to serve as the head of the Vision Laboratory from 1965 to 1980. So while she did all those things, and those are very important, she was also very involved. And she was a board member of several organizations, including the Aerospace Medical Association, the American Psychological Association, and the Optical Society of America. So she was very involved in her community. And so today, like I said, we're inspired by her, and we're going to go ahead and jump into story time. And we're going to read a story about a squid with quite the imagination. And we're going to read Squirt by Stacy Nyikos, illustrated by Sean Cisneros. So let me go ahead and stop my share and get my screen switched over so you can see my book. Awesome. So we're going to go ahead and jump right in. Like I said, we're reading Squirt by Stacy Nyikos, illustrated by Sean Cisneros. Alrighty. Squirt got up one bad stormy day to tossing seas and frothing spray. There won't be fizzing seahorse rides. Instead, I will be stuck inside. Squirt crossed his arms and colored red, then shot out of his cozy bed. So there he goes. Torpedo fast, he zipped and zoomed, crash landing in the TV room. The hollow clam showed Captain Moon, an adventurer's cartoon. Squirt tried, but he could not ignore the cape and hat or gleaming sword. Tinting back to normal glow, he watched this Buccaneers new show. So there he is. He's watching his hollow clam, which looks like a TV in the ocean. He gazed spellbound as Captain Moon defeating flying pirate goons. Enthralled, he watched them battle gales and cringed as winds tore up the sails. But when they stormed a pirate's lair, Squirt was hooked. He did not care about the churning sea outdoors. Captain Moon drowned out its roars. So even though it was rainy outside, he's having fun watching TV. Your brain needs something more than this, his mother said and gave a kiss. She'd come out to smooth out piles of sand and polish up the hollow clam. It needs to stretch and groove and play, not just to sit and watch all day. Squirt tuned out what his mother said and sailed with Captain Moon instead. He turned out when the sea calmed down and friends came out to clown around. He tuned out games of ink and hide upon seahorses. What a ride! He was zoned out, completely stuck, until he had a change of luck. Uh-oh, that doesn't sound good. Driven day and night to glow, the hollow clam grew very slow. It needed rest, a little fun, and tons of clear white ocean sun. But Squirt refused to leave its view, so that the clam was forced to do what any clam would do, driven day and night to glow. It hitched a ride on out to sea. Gone was Captain Moon TV. So there's the hollow clam. There's his TV. It's got a ride on a manta ray. It's had enough. Uh-oh. Looks like Squirt's figured it out now. Ah! I can't believe my eyes. Oh no. How will I watch my favorite show? Squirt's eyes were so outrageous. Indeed, they were contagious. They stormed the seas and shook the stone. The waters creaked and smashed and groaned. Sand began to twist and swirl. The sea spun like a tilt-a-whirl. Anybody know what a tilt-a-whirl is? It's like a carnival ride that spins around. Squirt's mother heard the noise all right. It gave that woman quite a fright. It barreled down the kitchen wall and caused her stew to creep and crawl. Oh no. But moms are fast and quick at hand, both in sea and dry land. She raised her lid up as a shield and charged the waves. She would not yield. She battled through to TV land, trailing apron, spoon in hand. So there she goes. She's off to get Squirt. Rings of gloom were all about. Squirt was huddled in a pout. So there's Squirt. He's upset that his TV's left him. Whatever happened, my son? It sounds like you've come quite undone. Squirt wiped his eyes, his tear-filled eyes, then mumbled in a trembling sigh, "The TV's gone. It's run away. How shall I spend my tragic day?" Go and find your long-lost friends for games of inking or pretend. Squirt frowned. His tentacles then crossed. He thought about what he had lost. "I'm much too sad for friends today. I'd have no fun. There's just no way. Chase sea castles, chase seahorses, ride them far, build sand castles in the yard." Squirt pursed his lips and shook his head. His colors changed from blue to red. He looks really upset now. "I do not want to do that stuff. I'm too upset. It's way too tough." "Squirt, why don't you swim outdoors or maybe search the ocean floors?" "I do not want to. Can't you see? I want to sit and watch TV." So he still wants to sit and watch TV. Squirt hollered out in ink-filled cries. What happened next was no surprise. So there's got ink coming out of his eyes because he's a squid. So what happened next if we think he's a squid? Uh-oh. He squirted so much jet black ink that it got dark and hard to think. Both Squirt and Mom tried hard to find a way out of this murky bind, but all they did was bump and twist and lose themselves in an inky mist. Then suddenly Squirt was attacked all at once from front to back. An enemy jumped on his head. It was light but hard as lead. Another jabbed him in the arm, but it was round and did no harm. A third one tackled from behind. Squirt felt it reach around and wind. Uh-oh, what's happening? What's attacking him? Look at him. Say. It was just then the waters cleared, and it was worse than Squirt had feared. I thought they were pirate squid, not an apron, spoon, and lid. He frowned at his old tangled. He frowned at this old tangled turn and purpled up from bow to stern. So now he's embarrassed, it looks like. But then he saw his mother's eyes. They smiled. He wondered why. No, perhaps they aren't, she said. Perhaps there's someone else instead. She gave her son a kiss and squeeze, then swam off on the water's breeze. Say, look at all the colors. So it goes pink to blue to green. Then we got Squirt here. So Squirt colored pink, then blue, then green. Whatever could his mother mean? He pushed the lid up with the spoon and looked about the empty room. Mom's words hung in the salty sea. They simply would not let him be. And in his mind, he saw her look. It tugged at him just like a hook. It pulled his thoughts 100 miles and caused his mouth to frown, then smile. There is a way to Captain Moon, Squirt cried out to the kitchen spoon. I wonder if he's got something figured out. He got to work right on the spot. Squirt scrunched up tight and thought and thought. He thought so hard, his body quaked. His colors changed. His insides ached. His eyes closed up. His arms got tight. He thought and thought with all his might. And just when he could think no more, he's thinking really hard there, Squirt saw a wisp of feather white, touch of metallic golden light, a velvet strong commander's red, regaled to purple on his head. Look at him. I did it. Wow. Hey, look at me. I'm captain of the sea. He's using his imagination now. Striking up a gallant pose, Squirt charged outside in his new clothes. He raised his sword to thrust and parry, dueling pirates mean and scary. He searched for treasures old and new, forgetting why he'd been so blue. Look at him, he's having a great time now. But as this sea passed into night, Squirt gazed out at the changing light, imagining what he could be within that magic glowing sea. An astronaut or matador? Who knows what else he's got in store? Awesome. So that was an awesome story about a squid named Squirt. And so today we're staying with our sea friends, and we are going to be making our craft. So now that we're ready for craft time, if we'll get our craft supplies, and we're going to be making our very own crab today. And so the supplies that we're going to need, let me switch back over to my other camera view so y'all can see. We're going to need a full paper plate. We're going to need our crayons, our glue, some scissors, and then we're going to need 2 googly eyes. Like I said, we're going to need our crayons, and then some paper as well. Awesome. So our first step is we're going to color the outside of our plate. And so we're going to color the whole plate because that's going to make up our crab, because we're going to fold it in half so we have a 3-dimensional crab. So we're going to, like I said, take the time to color the whole plate. And you can color either side. It doesn't matter because we're going to fold it in half. But go ahead and just take the time to do that. And it's going to take a little while, so you're going to have to maybe be a little patient, work with it. But we'll get there. And we can talk all about crabs in the ocean while we go. So does anybody know how many legs a crab has? Anybody at all? So if you said that they have 8 legs and 2 claws, you're absolutely correct. Those 2 claws are technically legs, so they technically have 10 legs. But I think that it's easier to say they have 8 legs and 2 claws, because those claws look a little different than the rest of their legs. And crabs come in all shapes and sizes. They live on land or in the ocean, but they do typically live by the sea. So I don't think we have any crabs here in Oklahoma. I think the closest thing we'll have here in Oklahoma is a crawdad, if you've ever seen that, but they look like maybe little shrimp instead. But has anybody ever been to the ocean and seen a crab? Say, I've been once when I was really, really little, and I don't quite remember it, but my mom has pictures of me, and we went crab hunting. But we released our crabs at the end of the night. We just wanted to see what we could find. So I think crabs are really cool. They're not my favorite animal, but they're definitely really cool. And they even, believe it or not, they do come in blue. So coloring my crab blue isn't totally inaccurate. There's blue crabs here in the United States in Maryland. So you can color your crab whatever color, and I can't wait to see what everybody else's crabs looks like. So now that I have that done, my next step is going to be to fold this in half. So I'm going to take this plate and I'm going to fold it in half just like that. And so this is going to serve as the body of my crab. And so now that we have that done, our next step is going to be to glue on our googly eyes. And so we're going to have to use a good amount of glue because we have some crayon already down on the paper. So just use a good amount and just put it right where you want your eyeballs to go, your googly eyes. And so press down. So there are my 2 googly eyes. Awesome. So there we go. So my crab looks a little silly. He's got 2 different size eyes, but that's okay. I want my crab to look friendly, so that's all right. So our next step is going to be our crab needs some of his 8 legs. So we're going to take that piece of paper and we're going to use this to make our legs and the claws. And so for me, I'm going to go ahead and trace them. I'm going to use half the sheet of paper for my legs and the other half for my claws. And so I'm going to do that and trace them out so I know where to cut. And so they're all about the same size. They're not perfect, but they're close. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And so now I'm going to cut out along those lines. First, I'm going to cut the paper in half. And so I'm going to set this half aside. And like I said, I'm going to save this for my claws here in a second. But I'm going to use the rest of this now, and I'm going to cut along these lines. And I'm going to cut my crab legs out. So there's 1 leg. And there's 2 legs. And 3. And I'm not cutting exactly along the lines. I'm just getting pretty close because I want my crab to have about even sized legs. And some of my lines were not the most even, but that's okay. So it'll work itself out. So there's 1. So I have 2 more, I think. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, 2 more to cut. So there's 1 crab leg, and there's my last one coming. Awesome. So there's my 8 crab legs. So before we go to the claws, we're going to go ahead and glue those legs down. So we're just going to glue them to the underside of our crab body. So our eyes are going to be on this side, and we're just going to glue it right here on both sides right here. Somebody said to me that crabs kind of look like spiders, but they live in the ocean. And I think that that kind of seems right because, you know, they have 8 legs and all that like a spider. So they have a lot in common. However, I don't think crabs are as scary as spiders personally. So I know I'm definitely more scared of spiders than I am of crabs. So I'm gonna go ahead and start attaching my legs. And I'm just gonna put it where I glued down, where I put all that glue. And so while that dries, since I put all that glue down, I wanna make sure not to press down too hard because I don't want the top to stick to my bottom half. And so here we go, just putting the other side on. And so there's 2 more to go. And so one last leg. Awesome. So now my crab has its legs. It needs a mouth. I forgot my mouth. Let me grab a crown. Say, there's my crab. He's a happy crab, happy smiling crab. So now my crab has its mouth, it has its legs. Now it needs its claws because it has to protect itself. And so I'm gonna grab that half sheet of paper that I set aside, and I'm gonna use that to draw my claws on before I cut them out. And so I watched a lot of SpongeBob and stuff growing up. And so I'm gonna go ahead and do kind of some cartoon claws. Like I said, I want my crab to look friendly. And I'm gonna go ahead and draw my other claw on this side. And then I'm going to cut those out here in a moment. Say, hopefully my crab looks nice and friendly. Say, see how these claws add to my crab. See if they make him look mean or not. But so I went with a really pretty basic. I didn't want to add a lot of designs to my crab, but I can't wait to see if you added maybe polka dots to your crab, or maybe you wanted to do a tiger crab and it has stripes. I can't wait to see what all you come up with your awesome craft ideas. I know we have so many creative friends. And so I have one more claw to cut out before I attach it to my crab. And like I said, then my masterpiece will be completed. So I'm just cutting out this last claw. And say, both my claws are different sizes, but if you want, you can make them the same size. But mine came out a little different size, and that's okay. But now, so I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna put glue on the bottom of my claws, so that I can attach it. And I'm gonna attach it on the side that has my eyeballs on, right here. So I'm gonna go ahead and just put glue down right here, put a bunch down. Awesome, that should be enough to hold my claws. So let me grab my claws. And I am just going to lay them down on the glue. And let me go ahead and fold it back over, and ta-da, there is my crab. Awesome. So let me get back on my face so I can show y'all my finished crab. And here's what it turned out like. Awesome. So I hope y'all had a great time with Discovery Time today. I hope you had a great time learning about Squirt, the squid, and I hope you had an awesome time building a crab. But that is all I have for you today. I can't wait to see y'all next week, and I hope that y'all have a great rest of your day. So until then, bye-bye.